Okay, what about air conditioners? One of my favorite whipping boys. From time to time, I have said that air conditioning proves that invention is the mother of necessity. That's not technically true. Computers prove that invention is the mother of necessity. Air conditioning is proof positive that invention is the mother of needless addiction due to the illusion of necessity. This illusion of need has really done a number on our lifestyles. Time was, young couples had summer romances. Nowadays they have air conditioner-based relationships. And by the way, Labor Day is the traditional expiration date for air conditioner-based relationships. Remember, this series of videos is based on the idea that we really can raise our standards of living, spend less money doing it, make healthier choices, and become more environmentally responsible all at the same time. So let's compare those four areas: benefits, cost, health impacts, environmental impacts, beginning with air conditioner. Benefit: what you really want is comfort, but there are drawbacks. It makes it more difficult for your body to become acclimated to warm weather. Cost: around $500 plus electrical cost and the cost of the building you're trying to cool. A couple of days ago, my wife gave me a cost comparison that you might find useful here. We have 5 fans in our house. That's 1 overhead fan in the living room, and 1 fan for each of the people, and we've got 1 fan for the dog. We've never had a fan for a dog or any pet before, but this old dog is 17 years old. He's kind of feeble, so we figure he's needing it. Her colleague, not the dog's colleague, but my wife's colleague, has 4 air conditioners in her house. Our electric bill last month, which was June, amounts to about $43 US for the month. Her colleague's electric bill for the month of June was around $300 US, 7 times as much as ours. Health issues: due to the stark differences in interior and exterior temperatures, summer colds may be more frequent if you use an air conditioner. It's harder to get rid of a summer cold than a summer visitor. According to a French study, people working in air-conditioned offices are almost 2.5 times more likely to suffer from respiratory infections than those in naturally ventilated buildings. It gets worse. You already know that when the body is cold, it has to burn up calories to regulate temperature. But that's also true when the body is hot. The body has to burn up calories to regulate temperature and make your body a little cooler. A fellow named David Allison at the University of Birmingham, I take it that's in Alabama, did a study of air conditioning and found that the increase in the use of air conditioners in the South closely correlated to the increase in obesity in the South. In other words, air conditioning might make you fat. I know some people who, upon hearing this, will scoff and walk away, but when they do walk away, the seat of their pants looks like 2 hogs trying to get out of a croaker sack. I'm from South Carolina, and speaking of close correlations, I have noticed that there is a close correlation between the increase in the use of air conditioning in the South and the increase in the influx of complainers and whiners who just can't handle a little heat. The 2 worst things to happen to South Carolina during the 20th century has been the invention of air conditioners and the construction of I-95. Environmental impact: the needless use of irreplaceable energy and mineral resources. It's toxic in production, use, and disposal. There are lots of alternatives. They're not mutually exclusive. Try architecture that works with nature instead of vainly fighting against it. Benefit: you want comfort, of course, you get it. It's a more natural feeling of comfort without depriving your body of the ability to become acclimated to outdoor temperatures. Cost: usually no more than buildings for similar purposes. Health: cooled by shade and cross drafts usually. It's been proven to be healthier for your body. Environmental impact: no more than other buildings used for similar purposes, and there's no need for expensive artificial cooling.
I think this building here is very well designed. You have the shade. When the sun comes down in the winter time, it heats up the flooring. But when the sun's high in the sky, it casts shade, and there's a breezeway, keeping things cooler. And notice one thing here. Each of these rooms here, this each side of the building is about 1 room thick. So they can open up windows at each end to allow for a cross draft. Now, I'm passing through what is called a breezeway. After the wind has cooled the balcony, it blows down this way, further cools things off, allowing wind to pass through these windows and out the next, or in the next and through these windows along the breezeway. Now notice what we have here at this end. In the winter time, they can close this up, so you don't have the breeze blowing quite as much, and it's a bit warmer. In the summertime, they keep it open, so you have more of a breezeway, and it's keeping things cooler. There's really no need for an air conditioner here.
Let's look at some other alternatives. Buildings are great. You can also wear more comfortable clothing. That's only common sense, but it's amazing how many people wear jackets in the summertime, looking forward to freezing in the air-conditioned room. With more comfortable clothing, you get a more natural feeling of comfort, and your body more acclimates itself to outdoor temperatures. Cost: well, you're going to be buying clothing anyway. It's not as if clothing were something extra. Health: you're less likely to get summer colds, unless you fail to bring your jacket to some room that some idiot has air-conditioned. Environmental impact: since you already have warm weather clothes and you're going to wear them anyway, there's no negative environmental impact. They're clothes you already have. Here's a final word on comfortable clothing. Comfortable clothing doesn't have to mean very brief. In fact, very brief clothing may not be all that comfortable. Just before summer vacation, I asked a group of students, do you feel hot? Why or why not? All but one of them blamed the weather for feeling hot. One of them, who was hot and blamed the weather, was this one, and this was what she was wearing on that day. Both the pants and the shirt are very close-fitting. They're also a bit heavier than they could be for keeping cool on a hot day, and the shirt itself is made mainly out of a synthetic material. Compare what she was wearing to what this one was wearing the same day. What you see here is lightweight, light in color, loose-fitting. Because it's loose-fitting, it allows for some circulation of air under the clothing, so that allows it to be a bit cooler. In a sense, it also casts shade upon her skin under the clothing, further helping her to keep cool in the summertime. Let's look at some other alternatives. No, not that one. Let's not look at that one either. Open a window. Let a cross draft come through. You can get a sheet of paper, create a fan, or almost anything, although an electric fan uses up electricity far less than an air conditioner. Drink more water. So with all of these, you get more of a benefit. It's much, much cheaper, it's healthier, and far, far better for the environment. I began this video by pointing out that air conditioners are a false necessity. That's how I will conclude this video. For thousands of years, people all over the world have gotten along without air conditioning. Even today, billions of people all over the world, many of them living in climates hotter than ours, are getting along without air conditioning. Confucius said, "Everyone is my superior in that I may learn from him." What can we learn from our ancestors, and what can we learn from other cultures in different parts of the world? We can learn to use architecture that works with nature rather than vainly fighting against it. We can dress according to nature, according to the climate, according to the temperature, rather than vainly fighting against it. In deserts, we see people wearing more clothing that's light in color and loose-fitting. In rainforest, we see people wearing less clothing according to the modesty of their culture, and it's loose-fitting usually. On hot days, they drink more water, they use hand fans, all the things I'm suggesting here. One of the most important movies ever made, in my opinion, is Avatar. In one culture, people are self-reliant, and they rely upon nature and upon each other, and they feel they owe everything to the one they call Iwa, the one we call God. In the other culture, there's very little self-reliance. People rely upon corporations for everything, and they owe everything to bankers. Instead of asking, what brand should I buy, we should be asking ourselves two other questions. One, what benefit do I want? And two, what's the best way of getting that benefit? So instead of letting advertisers narrow us to different brands of basically the same thing, I'm looking at a world of choices. And that's how we can raise our standard of living, spend less money doing it, make healthier choices, and protect the environment all at the same time.